Taxation is theft. Taxation is theft.
Stop coding.
Hello, I'm Miles Kristen, and you are watching the Whiskey Report. Today I am joined by my very good friend, Michael Walton. Michael has helped me several times on many video projects. We did a project on the gentrification of Madison. He helped me with some filming of the 2017 Inauguration Day. And also, Michael and I have been working together for over the last 4 years on a project that we call Madison Free Store. So, going to be going through some of the footage today of some of the different things we've witnessed. We've seen a lot of interactions between the Madison police and the homeless in Madison. We've gotten to know a lot of homeless people in Madison, and I would say Mike does a lot more work than I do. So, let's start off with some clips from the Madison Free Store.
This week at the Madison Free Store, all men's suit coats are 100% off, including designer brands like Brooks Brothers, Gentry, Victor Cruz, Alfanino Moreno, and Champs.
You going to like the way you look, I guarantee you.
Third anniversary, 2015. 3 years been going on.
Okay, let me see that first photo.
You want to take the picture now?
I got the camcorder. All right, so this is the first time. Yeah, that's the desk I pulled out. That's the desk I pulled out from like the back alley. I just put out a bunch of free. What I got, some like DVDs, a typewriter, some sunglasses, some clothes, I think, some suntan lotion, and just like the free store. That was it. That was the beginning of the free store. And I want to say Michael just said, "You gonna do this next week?" And I was like, "Well, sure, I guess." Didn't really think about it. And now, where are we at now? 3 years later,
Making it big. Got a church now.
how many pairs of pants do you think we've given away? Or the free? I should say, how many pairs of pants do you think the free store has given away?
A lot. A lot.
A couple bicycles.
Oh yeah, our mother there would get that little girl that bike. She happy too.
How many people do you think have gotten something from the free store?
Look at him, he got these.
Hi, I'm Miles Kristen.
My name Michael Walton.
These are the jackets that we picked up at St. Vinny's for $1 a piece.
And we would get ready to get to the home on State Street, on top of State Street.
So here we go.
Madison Free Store.
Madison Free Store. Yeah, in that clip we talked about the coats, which I think, 2015 you and I went out, maybe bought like 30 or 40 coats from St. Vinny's.
And then we gave them to the homeless people, and they are happy for getting the coat. So we try to do it every year to look out for the homeless and give them coats to wear, because I know they throw them away because they ain't got nowhere to put them for the summertime. So I don't mind doing that, helping them out, get coats, go there and get coats for $1 and get them to the homeless, because they really need it when it get cold outside in Madison, Wisconsin. So I love doing my job. We do it for free. I don't get paid for doing that at all. So people ask me, you get paid for doing that? No.
That's the thing. The free store. It's not a nonprofit. It's not a government organization. There's really no money involved in any way. And people want to donate in any way they want to. They can, but it's just basically organizing people to take action to do something. And every winter you're going out and getting lots and lots of coats for the homeless. So if you got some old winter coats that you're not going to wear anymore, you can definitely bring them to Michael, and Michael will get them out to the homeless in that time of year.
Yeah, and you can get in touch with me too. So my number again, 608-490-1758. Do anything. You got kids coat, grown people coat, women coat, you could donate it to me, and I'll make sure they get it too. So.
Yeah, I mean, you know a lot. I think it's safe to say you know a lot of single moms who've got 2 or 3 kids, and they need help.
Yeah, they need help because they putting foods on the table, and they ain't have enough money to get coat for their kids. So if people can help me, and they don't, I'll do it myself too. So I could get coat for kids this year too. So I'm trying to look out for the parents and the kids.
Next series of clips we're going to go through, Michael and Na went down to Chicago and did a series of interviews with people on their thoughts on the violence in Chicago. And I guess before we start, you were born in Chicago.
Yeah, I was born in Chicago in 1974 at Michael Reed Hospital, raised out south, and then I was raised out north. Before I came to Madison, I moved in with my daddy in 1995 and stayed there for a year. Then I moved up in Madison because my brother wanted me to get away from the gang, like I was in the gang like for a long time, since I was like 13. So my brother wanted me to get away from there. So him and my cousin brought me up here in '96 to Madison, Wisconsin. Because I believe, and they never brought me up here, I've been in prison, I've been in dead somewhere. So I'm happy for that, for them bringing me up here to stay away from that type of stuff. And that's why I'm doing stuff like this now, trying to help young people, talk to them about gang. Like I've been shot at, I got my head busted, I've been jumped at. So I'm trying to teach the young kids how to stay out of trouble now up here too. You can't talk to all of them because some of them hard-headed. I would only reach out to the people, young kids that want to listen today. Women, men, everything. So, that's the only thing I could do.
Well, and here's one of the first clips from the interviews in Chicago.
How do you feel about the violence going on in the community here?
Same thing when I left in '96. Brothers still going around shooting each other, killing each other. Ain't nothing for a change. The violence always for a be here.
How do you think we could change that?
All the black leaders get together and have a conversation and try to give the young guys something to do in life now.
I was born in Chicago, Illinois, lived here all my life, right here in the big city of Chicago. Beautiful city, but we have a few bumps that we need to correct. One of them is the violence in Chicago. I can't do nothing about the weather. But other than that, Chicago is a beautiful city. Our coast, our lakeshore, I'll put it against any city in the world.
I was born in Jackson, Mississippi in 1948. Times weren't that pretty for a man of my complexion at the time. I grew up basically in the church and tried to do everything right. And when I finished college, I came to Chicago, and I thought this was the best thing ever could have happened to me, to come to the Wendy. But the one thing I realized very quickly when I got here is that people didn't have a loving spirit like the people I grew up around.
Hi, my name is Felicia Walton Jones. I was born and raised in Chicago, number one. So the violence, I could say, it's gotten worse than what it has ever been. Growing up in Inglewood, I've seen so much, but now I think it's just out of hand. It's a lot of senseless murders going on.
We have violence in this city, which is number one among all cities. That can be corrected. People do not want to correct it because we're killing each other. And when you're killing black on black, it's not no concern. But if you kill somebody in Schaumburg or something like that of a different persuasion, then they would have the National Guard here,
The violence, and it seems like the perpetrator has become younger and younger, and then with them being younger, it's a lot of unintended targets because they're so young, and a forceful gun like that is too much for a child age 11, 12, 13. So with a child having access to a gun and doing a shooting, because they're not skilled, now they shoot the person that the bullet wasn't intended for. So the violence, yes, is out of hand here in Chicago.
If people were more involved in the church, do you think that's going to help?
Not really, because a lot of parents don't go to church, so the parent don't go to church, and some parents work all the time. They can't work and see what their kid doing at the same time. So a lot of black people family raised on the street like I was. My mama, my daddy, my stepdaddy, and my older brother working all the time. So they didn't know about a lot of stuff I was doing behind their back because they're busy working. So a lot of working parents can't be at two places at the same time because they work hard to keep food on the house, pay the rent on time and all that. So they can't be all the time. So that's why a lot of gang violence in the black community going on, because the parents working so hard to a job or play for their kids to sleep at. And they stay home, they won't have nowhere to sleep at. So that's why violence going on in Chicago a lot more today. Since I've been gone from '96, it's more because really kids today, the kid growing up on their own because they parents letting them let kids grow on their own these days. That's why, and they don't do like they used to do back in my day. The neighbors see me doing something, my mama tell them to spank my butt. Now you can't do that because kids know about calling 911 now. And my mom used to tell me back in the day, call 911, where you for be at? So my mama used to whoop my ass where I showed off at. I show off in the school, she whooped me right there. I show off in the store because I didn't want to get something I wanted and she said no and I want to be hard. She whooped my ass right there. So my mama didn't play that. So kids these days getting away with a lot of stuff because they scared of the police for lock them up.
Yeah.
So that's why the kids do what they want to do today and grow up seeing what they want to see on TV, the gang violence and all that. So that's why killing never will stop in Chicago, period. And then it's hard, kids don't finish school like me. I ain't finished, I went to high school and got tired and quit and I ended up selling dope. So that's why a lot of kids doing it for dope these days. And then now in the city, Chicago closed the project down. People they had beef with, they might run into them now because they got it all in the open no more. And there ain't no discretion up in Chicago no more. All the gang leaders lay back and let the young kid do what they want to do now because you can't tell them nothing no more. They big headed and think they running stuff, and that's why the gang violence won't never quit again.
It bothers me that our own are killing each other. Okay. My religious training tells me that we don't have to be that way if we seek a higher power. Shooting in Chicago is totally unnecessary. There's no love being demonstrated by killing each other. The Bible says, if my people who are called by my name would humble themselves and pray. And I figure that's the biggest thing that we don't do. We don't pray that things will change.
How do you think we could change that?
All the black leaders get together and have a conversation and try to give the young guys something to do in life now.
The violence in Chicago is not, it's crazy because it's like a lot of kids is getting into it more than adults. This generation is really crazy because, like, I don't know, kids is getting guns really quick. Like in Chicago, I don't know where they getting the guns from. They all coming on the streets. I don't know where they're coming from, but kids think it's cool to, like, you know, post them on Facebook, towing them and stuff, going outside, scaring people with the guns and stuff.
Born and raised in Chicago, Illinois.
What you think what's going on up here? Why the killing still going on up here in Chicago, Illinois?
Because you got gangbangers that sell drugs, and they know jobs in the community. That's why they do what they do. But once kids get involved, then it's a whole messed up issue about that.
So
they gotta find something to do, whatever with their life, doing what I'm saying, besides gang banging, stealing, and selling drugs, stuff like that. And we the only black individuals can't get along with each other. You got white folks, Puerto Ricans, whites, and all types of people that gets along. We the only ones can't get along because as long as it's drugs, guns, and gang banging, violence is never gonna go away at all.
I was just coming over here. It seemed like everybody's rushing to go nowhere. And then if you blow your horn or honk at somebody, you got to worry about being shot. It's gotten out of control, And what we probably need to do is, I believe we need to pray more, and we need to start treat people the way we want to be treated.
How is it different from here than Madison, Wisconsin?
Oh, Madison, Wisconsin, you got people really, they got places they could go talk to, got boy and girl club they could play ball, got brother like me for Operation Welcome Home, help people look for job, help people pay car ticket off, and that's the only thing Chicago needs. They need more black leaders out here. Talk to young brothers to do things, give them something to do. That's what it is.
So what you think a lot of black leaders should be doing then?
You know, it's hard to say because we had so many people that came together to do a march. We have so many people that got together to do some type of support system to reach out to the young people to help them. But yeah, back in the days, you know, I would always say that the gangs that was around, it was more structured. The gangs back then was promoting growth and development. A lot of the gangs back then, you couldn't come on the street and shoot, not unless you had permission. So now it's like it's no structure, and we need people to step up and to, you know, the people that's doing the shooting, the young people out here, they need to reach out to them. So as far as reaching out, I don't know how to reach out to them, you know, because we've talked, we offered like alternative different things for them to do. So it's hard to say what can really reach out to them and make them want to turn away from the violence.
Obviously, there's a huge gun problem there. But at the same time, Chicago's had more gun laws than practically anywhere in the entire country. So, do the gun laws actually prevent people from having guns?
No, not in Chicago, period. People still get guns from anywhere. I don't know where they coming from. They coming in Chicago real deep, though. They're coming from the street, and the only way they come from the street, somebody bringing them there. And the only thing they doing, bring them there for more black people to kill each other on the street. And they take the gun away, I think it'd be like my cousin Felicia said back in the day, you have to have permission to do what you have to do. Now, they don't do it. They only shooting up people. They ain't only shooting up people, they shooting up kids too. Because bullet don't got no name on it. So they after you, and they shoot somebody they see in the car, they'll kill a little kid, and they don't care about it no more like they did back in the day. Like when I joined, this is all about destruction. Now, they don't do it. They do what they want to do now.
Almost like back in the day, gangs had kind of a more of a mafia, like,
yeah.
You know, there was a set of rules.
Yep.
You didn't just go. But I mean, you know, it doesn't seem like people are deterred from buying a gun because it's illegal. People, you know, they're already breaking the law.
Yeah. And then think about it, that ain't the only thing. They getting it from their partner and can buy a gun, because everybody not no felony. So if you ain't no felony, somebody could go in the store and get a gun and show them an ID and get a gun. Since then they pass them around, and I have gun keep on coming and coming. I don't know where they coming from, though. They got them, though.
I mean, even if people are for or against gun control, everybody agrees that if you purchase a gun and you sell it to somebody who has a felony, if you sell a gun to a felon, that there are laws about that. It's called, I believe it's sometimes referred to as the straw man laws, and you know those laws exist, and you know, maybe that we need better enforcement of those existing laws. I don't know, but I mean the amount of gun laws that exist in Chicago, it seems like it doesn't really. That's not going to help the situation. It's something else. I mean, what is it about jobs? I mean, is it... Okay,
this is a job. I'm going to keep it real right here. And you get a felony for anything you do in Chicago for a black man. It's hard to get job, the good job, Only job we could get dishwasher, Burger King, fast food restaurant. They give it to us in a minute. A real job though, like behind the table or doing stuff like that, busy people, like busy person, it's hard black people would get those type of jobs. So they like, we ain't working for no $7 an hour. So they go out there and get what they can and make one, they can make a G in one day to sell some dope. That's what I did. Cause I found out $7, what if it do for me? I dropped out of high school. And they ain't for do nothing for me, so I went to the next thing, sold dope.
And then there's the debate about whether to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour, but I mean you would agree that it's a little more complicated because let's say a mom and pop small business, they can't afford that.
No.
You know, I mean if you want to make the argument that a billion-dollar corporation can afford to pay the people $15 an hour, that's one thing, especially when we're given subsidies and tax breaks to those specific corporations. But, you know, let's take, for instance, in Illinois, the governor there, in the state legislature, they're trying to make it where if you want to do landscaping, you have to get a license.
See what I'm saying?
I mean, or if you, for instance, you want to braid hair, you're supposed to have a license to do that.
No, I know a lot of people doing that, illegal braiding hair. Because how you feel tell me I need license to braid hair, and I got people coming over there. You got, that one thing I could say about sisters, they are, when I say sister, black women, they can braid hair, and they do that all the time in Chicago, braiding hair. They don't need no license. They could do it because they got friends who need daughters. Not only daughter, grown men go to black sisters and get their hair done, and that's the way they can make money too.
And I mean, so that is one thing. Like, we need to make it easier for people to pursue their own profession without paying the government for this, paying the government for that. I mean, for the record, I disagree with Trump on all sorts of stuff, but I was actually listening. He was talking about getting rid of the license fees and the licenses you got to do for some of these, you know, things like braiding hair. Some, you know, it's like sometimes, you know, he's talking about. Sometimes the guy talks about something that's an actual concern that nobody else brings up. You know, I mean, what do you think is going to help Chicago economically?
Well, like you said, I think a lot of black people need to try to go to school, finish school, don't be like me, a dropout, and try to do something like they love doing. Like they love braiding hair, they can open their own business. That's what we need to do for black people, period. And certain things, we need to open our own business, what we like to do. Out trying to help there working for the other person, and they telling them what to do. We need to do our own thing in Chicago, open our own business. I know my cousin that helped move up here, they did it for a minute. They had cutting hair. My cousin Booby know how to cut hair good. And he did it for a minute, him and his brother Ryan. They opened their own hair shop because they knew how to cut hair. And that was, for black people, the stuff we love to do, we need to open business ourselves then. Like women, they know how to do fingernails. They know how to put weave in hair. And that's what we need to do, open our own business then. That's what we need to do. Like this show I watch called Chicago Inc. They open their own business because they like, we ain't working for nobody. They work for themselves. And that's what we need to do. Because job, it's hard to try to get jobs from other places. You dropped out of school and you know any type of stuff like women, black sisters, fingernail, brother know how to braid. Open your own thing. That's what we need to do in our community, period. Open our own business. That's Chicago, Madison, anywhere where people can't get, black people can't get good job. Open your own business because you know how to do something you know how to do it yourself then.
To me, the police are out of control, but at the same time, I can see, I sound like I'm waffling a little bit, but if I was a policeman, I would be kind of leery about Joe Blow too, because a lot of these people just don't respect the policemen the way they probably should be respected, but that's their fault too, because they haven't shown the love and kindness toward people at all.
All right, what year you left from Chicago, Illinois?
Like in 1996.
Why you leave Chicago, sir?
Because the violence in Chicago, me and my brother lived day by day. You're not guaranteed to wake up the next morning, you know what I'm saying? Especially, say, like, go to the store, you get shot for a bullet that's not even meant for you. That's why we left Chicago and I took me and my little brother with me.
I think the powers that be need to do what they're doing now. They're putting things in place where the policemen should have a body camera on at all times, show a little more empathy toward the people they serve, get more involved in the neighborhoods they work in so that the people can gain some trust. Right now, there's a lack of trust. I live in Country Club Hills, and it's not as bad as in Chicago because we kind of, even though we don't know everybody by first name, policemen in my neighborhood all the time, we wave into each other. As a matter of fact, a month or so ago, policemen stopped and we got to talking and found out that we had some things in common, and it made for a good experience. And I felt like when he walked away from our home, that I had gained a friend instead of an adversary. When you need a policeman, you don't want somebody that's coming to you, barking at you and mistreating you. And then at the same time, when the policemen come, we got to show the respect for them too, because they have a heck of a job to do. But
I'm thinking if we have more people that that can take an interest on what's going on, like taking back your neighborhoods. When you see people hanging out, let them know, hey, we don't hang out on this block. Or just to, offer them other things to do versus hanging out on a block. So, pull together as a community.
Well, for one, to get all these young people together, communicate with them more what's going on in this inside world, make sure there ain't no violence and drugs and all that, and stop killing all these little kids, whatever, for nothing.
Gun violence, we're going to kill ourselves. We don't have to worry about the alt-right. We got to worry about us. And it goes back to there's a lack of spirituality among the people in this land, in Chicago land. And it goes for the policemen and the citizens as well. We got to show a little more love, a little more God. That's what I think.
First thing I actually thought about, totally different situations, but in some way, almost like the way you left Chicago and came to Madison, I kind of had a similar situation of that when I must have been 12 years old at the time, my family left Racine where, like, in the middle of the 90s, like, Racine had a lot of crime going on. My uncle actually had been shot and murdered like a year or so earlier just for, delivering Chinese food. And it's hard to say where crime, definitely there's more crime in Chicago than almost anywhere, but the 90s especially I think was a really bad time for crime with, people suffering poverty and just all the crazy things that were going on. A lot of the people that you interviewed, they talked about, the black on black crime and how it's ignored. Like, do you think that, for instance, every time there's a mass shooter, that goes out and, shoots 10, 20 people, it's a national news story, but at the same time, you could have 20 people, 30 people shot in the city of Chicago on a weekend, and because they're all different cases, do you feel like, I think there's no question about it maybe, but like, why do you think it's so ignored?
Because I'm going to keep it real. Why it's ignored? Because it's a black man killing each other, and we killing each other every day. And when a white dude running around killing people, they love to talk about that for a while, put it on the news, on a lot. And they might have that on the news for like 20 minutes. And then when one of us do it, they show up real quick. Like, oh, it's a game related. That's it. Every time you look up, it say game related. And that's it. They might show a clip of what had, and then leave it alone. And then a Mac murderer go around killing people. They got like a 30-minute interview with different people talking about, oh, he used to be a good kid. I don't know what happened. Try to say Black, the first thing they say game related. They ain't have to be game related all the time. They do it though, because that's where I'm from, Chicago. That's the only thing they got out their mouth, game related. So that's why we don't never get no credit. They do. They get credit real quick.
And then even here in a place like Madison, you know, does it seem like if, for instance, you know, I mean, all tragedies are horrible, but like a white UW college student was murdered, you know, what was it, 10, 15 years ago? It was a national news story.
Yeah, and they still talk about it today. The little white girl that got killed.
But how many black people get shot and killed in Madison every year? And it's just, they don't talk about it at all.
Nope.
I mean, why is it? It's like a black person in a certain particular neighborhood of Madison dies, and we don't even remember their name. It's a news story for a minute. I mean, it's nothing. You know, it's just.
And then I'm gonna keep it real. Only people who move is the people, the kid that got killed, his family. We throw parties for them and everything. And then that's the only way we gonna move them. Like on Facebook, I go on Facebook, see a couple of my friends I know, they cousin, they brother, and them got killed. That's the only way you can see it, because the family keep it alive. Like now, you don't hear about the Tony Robinson murder no more. Yeah. They let that go away. That's why I'm glad I got a little thing on my table I made for him. And every time I look up there, I know what happened to Tony Robinson is in my mind. You might ain't see it on the news no more. The only time you see it on the news if we go out there and celebrate Tony life. Over that, it should be on the news like every couple of days talking about what happened. They don't do that though.
I mean, the death of Tony Robinson, definitely something we're going to talk about more in a moment. And you know, how often do you think that is that unarmed people are shot by the police in Chicago?
A lot. I ain't for a lot. Because they feel for their life. The police say they feel for their life, because every time they look up, police do get killed up there when they pulling up somebody. Look the way they talk to you though. And they don't talk to black brothers like a dog, talking about get your ass out the car, calling them out their name. They ain't how to worry about getting shot. Only thing though, the police so dirty though, they don't do that no. They walk up to your car, first thing they do, pull their gun out. And then you reach for something, you might be reaching for your ID. First thing you know, they kill them and get away with it. Yeah. That's crazy. They get away with it in a minute.
And so when I'm talking about Chicago, the politics of Chicago, this is a town run by Democrats. It has been run by Democrats for decades. And does it seem like all the politicians there are just fake?
Yeah, because my mama back in the day, she didn't like Jesse Jackson, really. I met him up here in Madison. I took a picture of Jesse Jackson years ago, and my mama never liked him because she said only time he come out when somebody get killed.
Yep.
That's it. You don't hear nothing about Jesse Jackson until somebody get killed, and then he say something, and then you don't hear about him no more.
Yeah, I've actually met Jesse Jackson many times. I mean, literally been on a bus with Jesse Jackson. He doesn't have a clue who I am. And I mean, we're talking like in 2011, I must have met Jesse 7 or 8 different times. And he doesn't really seem like he knows what's going on. He just kind of like, he's kind of like a celebrity, I think.
Yeah, he is really like Rare Shopping. Rare Shopping, the same thing. He's another Jesse Jackson to me. Because he want to do something, he'll do something. Both of y'all work for the same people, and y'all don't do nothing. And I mean, only time y'all come out when another black person kill each other. That's it, really.
I mean, and I see this, I've seen a lot of videos, people in the black community criticizing Jesse Jackson to his face, criticizing Reverend Sharpton to their face. I mean, you would say there's a lot of that sentiment in the black community that these guys aren't really there helping.
No, they not to me. My mama and my daddy, I don't know. I know my mama didn't like them at all because she said they two faces and they doing it for the money, really. Because she like, when they don't come out, anytime, you ain't hear from Red Shopping for a while right now. Until somebody get killed. Now when he come on there hugging the lady who son got killed, and say his little speak, then you don't hear about him no more. That crazy right there. So, you know, I don't know none of them. I only saw them on TV. And I ran to Jesse Jackson up here because one day I'm on the Union and I'm looking and I thought the man pulled me away. He gave me a hug, took a picture with me, and that's it. So, you know, that's the leader. That's they black leader in Chicago, Red Shopman and Jesse Jackson. Some people love him, some people don't. I don't know. I only know, see what my mama was talking about. And that truth, they only come out when somebody get killed.
So another thing that was talked about a lot, you know, the relationship between the cops and the citizens, and also I guess the structure of government. I mean, in the area, I mean, you've got like the city of Chicago government, and it's basically like its own, you know, state. It's a huge. I mean, the government of Chicago is probably as powerful as some states' government. But I mean, how do you get better relations between the cops and the citizens?
You can't, cause you got some good cop in Chicago, you got bad cop. Cause you got some bad cops set brother up and put dope in their car, and this dude might ain't never sold dope in his life because he didn't like him. So you got crooked pop get paid off too.
Yeah.
They get paid off too by people. So you can't. You take the crooked cop from all around the city and have all good cop and been good. Get what though? Like Ice Cube said though, you got the good cop helping the bad cop getting away, so it's making them bad too then.
And then, you know, you live in a place like Madison or Milwaukee, you meet a lot of black people who moved up from Chicago. And when you're in Chicago, does it also seem like there's a lot of, especially with the older crowd, seem like there's a lot of people who moved up from places like St. Louis or the South, you know, Alabama, so forth. I mean, there's almost like, seems like a lot of people leave the South to get away from the racism of the South. You get to Chicago where maybe it's maybe less racist, you know, because you've got more people of your own group, but then you got to deal with, you know, violence, and then, you know, come up to Madison, and then you're dealing with racism again.
Yeah, same thing. And I'm going to keep it real. When I was living in Chicago on the south side and the north, it's mostly all black in my hood where I'm from, and then black on the south. Now, when they closed the project, it looked like more white people out there, because they said the white people used to stay in the project until we moved out there. The black moved out there, and they ran out of there. Now they closed the project down, shut them down. White people more out there, because when me and my brother first started going back to Chicago visiting my family, we saw a lot of them. We're like, damn, they out south now? Now you go to the 47th, 63rds and all that, you see a lot of white people at the L station. Back in the day when I out there, you ain't see them. You only saw them in the car driving to Chicago. Now you see them on the L station and everything. Because I think when they closed the project down, it made white people want to come back now. And that's what they did now, a lot of them.
How long ago are these projects that got closed? How long ago was this?
I think the project got closed like 2001, 2002 when they shut the project down. And since they shut the project down, that when everything gone the way, because they knew what they were doing when they shut the project down, because they know people have beef with each other. Now they all in one thing. That's why ain't no discussion no more. Because you got people have beef with this side, people have beef with that side, and when they close the project down, they all for meet together. And that's why ain't no discussion in Chicago. Because they knew what they were doing when they said, let me close the project down. That dude had beef with him, Now we shut the project down. They could kill each other now. And that's what they care. Police don't care about us in Chicago, period. I'm going to keep it real. That's why if we keep on going on. And like one of my uncles said on this video, we ain't got worried about the white people killing us. We killing our own self. And that's why I said, that's why the police getting away with it too. Because when they go to court, they find the police not guilty because we don't care about ourselves. When black people, black men, black sisters start caring about themselves, then they first start saying the police guilty. Right now, we don't care about ourselves. They keep on finding them not guilty.
Well, we're turning now to Madison. We start off some footage from the inauguration day. This is January 2017 when President Trump came into office. This is some footage that Michael helped me record that day. Still haven't released any of this footage. Actually, this is the first time I've used any of this footage, just because there's so much footage, so much stuff going on that day. And Michael was my right-hand man filming that day. And there's one thing in particular from that day that actually we can watch right here and then put it on the screen behind us. This footage is crazy. So here we are at the top of State Street, and there's all this protest going on about Trump and so forth. You had everything from Democrats and socialists and anarchists and all these different people protesting. And damn fly. Now, these two kids, who I believe one of them is a devoted communist or so forth, they're burning these American flags. They actually had a couple American flags that they were burning at the top of State Street. And now this is a spot where if you're homeless and you're drinking, you go to jail. If you're homeless and you get in a fight, you go to jail. Yet these two kids started lighting flags on fire, and now, you know, it's legal to burn the American flag, but it's not legal to light things on fire, you know. So, I mean, it's not legal to light things on fire in public. But you were there with me, and there's just no cops.
And my side of it, let it been a black man burn an American flag. They came up there and locked her up. This dude burned like 4 flags right in front of me, taking them out of his pocket, burning them. And the police went past. I saw the police a couple of times go past. They ain't say nothing. Let it been one of my people doing it, they'd have been stopped and locked her up for burning a flag. And we've been having a court case. They didn't do nothing to that dude. He was out here for hours doing it. I'm taping, Mal sitting there talking. And the man keep burning the flag.
Hey, see this white boy burn the flag. See that shit?
This goddamn white boy.
Hey, cuz, I see you on here. See the white boy burning that shit. Can't say a black man this time. Look, burn the shit out that flag.
I know a few people out here, Tay. I know a few people out here. I don't know who's burning flags.
I don't know, that motherfucker burning shit.
Dude.
Bro, they can't get people filming those shit on State Street, dog.
I cannot believe the cops did not, like...
Yeah.
I mean, if it was 2 black guys got in a fight, they'd be down here in 30 seconds, you know, like they always are.
Hey, I'm sorry to say this in front of a crowd full of
No, it's okay. It's okay.
That's white privilege right there. You can burn the American flag. Yeah. Hold on, let me get the whole Capitol building in the context of this shit.
I mean,
you see the Capitol building right there, and he's burning a flag, but a motherfucker can't have a beer around this bitch.
Yeah. As somebody who has spent dozens of hours documenting this,
he's money for these motherfucking flags.
Yeah, how much was that?
Set the American flags on fire.
It was really funny, actually. At one point, like, it seemed like there was so much lawlessness going on that, like, one guy just, like, straight up walks up with a tall boy and cracks it open. And it's almost like if that guy cracked open that tall boy a beer any other day, he probably would have gotten jail. I mean, this is a spot where you've got camcorder in all directions, right on there, watching people all the time, which kind of will bring us into the discussion about this area that we call the top of State Street, back to kind of talking about the Madison Free Store. How many times do you think we've seen, the cops seem to be pretty good right now, but how many times have the cops given us a hard time doing the Free Store? I mean, especially that first summer. Ooh.
Yeah, because when we were doing the Free Store, they told mine we don't get away from right there, they forgive us a ticket.
No. So you guys need to pack up the stuff and go, or else you're going to get a ticket.
Wow. Can we let them grab something and then we'll go?
This has been an issue for a little while. I need you to take care of it now and get out of here, okay?
Meanwhile, the horse just took a giant shit.
horse just crapped on the street. I don't know if you want to deal with that. Really? Wow. So yeah, that brings us into the discussion about what happened. It was summer of 2016, and there's this stone slab. I always call it the stone slab of concrete, where they are ticketing people $439 for just simply sitting there. And now, if you were a tourist on a Saturday just visiting and you sat on it, they're not going to ticket you. But I mean, let's talk about the transition we've seen there at the top of State Street. You know, you got the Capitol on one side, you got all these tall buildings, and over the last 3-4 years, we've seen a lot of things put in. Like for instance, the
one thing I'm gonna tell you, they took the bus stop.
Yep.
To be right there across the street from the store. They took that because they said the homeless in there drinking and doing their thing.
Right here at the top of State Street is an area known as Philosopher's Grove. There used to be stones right here. 2004, just last week, when the city removed them. Now the city is planning on taking out a bus stop at this exact same area. Do you think the city moving this bus stop is in relation to the city moving out the stones?
Yes, definitely. It wants to take away all congregating up here, I think, as much as it can. I don't know, isolating the people. It's almost this is a tough spot. People congregate someplace, and I don't even make it tough on one spot, they'll go someplace else. I mean, you can see right across the street there how many people are by the Veterans Museum.
They took that. Then we had the stone over there. They removed the stone because, I'm going to keep it real, when they had the stone, people had calmed down. They were playing cards, domino, and since they took that, they moved everybody across the street. Then you start giving people $400 ticket for sitting there. So then protest against that.
Right next to me are individuals breaking the law. They are sitting on slabs of concrete paid for with our tax dollars. Mayor Paul Soglin has instituted a new policy called Occupying a Planting Area. This policy is now ticketing people $439 for sitting. But the tourists and the suburban middle-class people are not the ones receiving this ticket. It's predominantly the poor, the homeless, people of color. Chief Coble has been sending his police officers down here for the majority of the day, sometimes as many as 20 hours a day, right here, parked on the sidewalk, sometimes next to the fire hydrants, to watch and make sure that no one is sitting on these slabs of concrete. They're issuing tickets for $439 to people for sitting on the concrete, which our tax dollars paid for. We are spending thousands of dollars on law enforcement to enforce an unconstitutional policy where we ticket the poor hundreds of dollars that they can't afford, and when they can't afford it, they will then ultimately be thrown in jail for not paying their fines. They'll have warrants put out after them for having sat on the concrete. Paul Soglin has become part of the corporate mechanism, which is wrong with Madison, Wisconsin. He was once a hippie. He was once a protester. He once protested on Mifflin against the cops, and now he's sending the police to ticket the most poor and impoverished people of Madison. This is wrong. And these tickets being issued by the Madison police under the directive of Paul Soglin and the city attorney and Chief Mike Coble. And these tickets will then go before Judge Coble, the brother of the chief of police. So there's no chance that the judge is going to see that these tickets are unconstitutional and throw them out. He's going to uphold
when our mayor is issuing tickets for $439 for people who can't afford it, for people who aren't breaking the law. This is not a real crime. This is an imaginary law that they have made up in order to attack the poor and homeless of Madison, Wisconsin. It's important that we now take some of our anger and our frustration that we've been feeling these last few years about the police brutality and the problems facing this country, and we need to direct some of that frustration at the people who are behind this. It's important that we question the mayor. I personally think that we should recall Paul Soglin. I think Madison deserves a mayor who's going to properly represent the people of Madison, Wisconsin, not just the wealthy people who want to gentrify this town, not just the college kids, not just the people from out of state that have a lot of money. I want a mayor who's going to represent the poor, the homeless, the middle class, and all the people of Madison, Wisconsin. So it's time we get involved. We cannot let our mayor become this corporate monster. We cannot live in a town where the poor and homeless are being ticketed hundreds of dollars just for sitting on the concrete. Get involved. Wake up. Do not turn a blind eye to what is going on in this town. Thank you. Woo! Woo! Thank you, Miles.
Hello, everybody. My name is Michael Walton. This is my partner, Mal. And every Wednesday, we do the free store for the homeless every Wednesday at 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock to help the homeless. And I pray everybody around the world do the same thing. Open up a free store for the homeless people. Because homeless people is other people too. Don't look around and only throw your head up in the air when you see somebody homeless ask you for some money. Don't mean every homeless people out here drinking. You got some homeless people been out homeless for 30 years, and when I see a homeless person, they ask me for some money, I give it to them. Don't look at them like they ain't nobody. They somebody.
Thank you, Mike.
Now they let them come back over there and do it. Now they don't getting no ticket out no more because me and him
for
went
sitting alone. I mean, they're still giving out tickets all the time for different things.
Yeah, for different
if
things.
If you were to think that the state capitol, like for instance, directly behind us, right? The capitol's right behind us, and this is a great thing about having a green screen. On one side of the street, you've got the War Museum, and on the other side of the street, you have the Historical Museum. So on the side where the Historical Museum was going on, or is, I should say, you had what was called I think it was called Philosopher's Stones. There was this set of stones that you could sit on, play dominoes or chess on, and there was also a bus stop. Now the bus stop, I filmed this crazy video once that's gotten more than 500,000 views of the cops basically IDing these guys for apparently being loud, and that was the thing we both saw. 2015, 2016, and beyond is a report of people being loud. I mean, they definitely did that. The 2015, 2016 was like, we've got a report that there was a noise complaint. Meanwhile, how many drunk kids, college kids, do you have on the ends of State Street yelling?
A lot of them.
They never investigate college kids for being loud, right? But that's something they were doing that particular summer, investigating the homeless for being loud. And so, yeah, we organized this protest about how they were stopping people for sitting. We did get a lot of people to show up, still talking on megaphone and whatnot, and then the media showed up. He got interviewed by the Isthmus. But after the little protest we had, there was some media coverage, and it seems like that they, I don't want to say aren't ticketing people for this at all, because I remember the next summer I heard that like the cops were kind of threatening to do it. But it seems like they've pretty much stopped. I mean, there might be one case where they've done it in the last couple of years, but for the most part, what we organized was successful in stopping this whole
And I'm gonna keep it real too. Why they stopped it too? Because when I was working for Operation Welcome Home with Z and everybody else, we were paying their tickets off. So they feel like, why we forgive them tickets for sitting there and Operation Welcome Home pay their way ticket out. So that's why I think it stopped a lot too. Because we paid a lot of ticket for the people who have been sitting on there. So now they stopped it because they might think Operation Welcome Home's still here to do that. I'm glad they stopped it though, so that's a good thing. They did stop giving them tickets for that. They're still giving them tickets for drinking, acting a fool out there.
I guess the last thing to really talk about, probably the hardest thing to talk about, and it's a good thing to close on, I guess, is the case of Tony Robinson. For anybody who doesn't know, Tony Robinson was a young man who was living on Williamson Street in Madison, and he was having, an episode, if you will. I mean, I wouldn't say that Tony was someone who suffered from mental issues. I think it was just that he had, like many people in Madison, he had taken some substances, and he had apparently been dodging through traffic and everything, and cops were called, and while probably a lot of officers in that situation would have had a better handle on being peaceful and not confrontational, what's really tragic is that an officer by the name of Matt Kenny showed up. Matt Kenny, a couple years earlier, actually showed up to a case where a man was suicidal, using a BB gun to threaten that he was going to kill himself. The man's estranged ex-wife or whatever actually was on the phone with the police, telling them that he had a pellet gun or BB gun. The state capitol police were actually already at the scene, having basically a standoff with the man, possibly knowledgeable of the fact that what the man had wasn't indeed a real gun. And Matt Kenny pulled up to that scene, and we're talking about not the Tony Robinson case, but the case, a couple of years earlier. Matt Kenny, within moments of getting there, pulled out something like an M16 or AR-15 and shot the man dead within, few seconds of not even knowing what the full situation was. And so Matt Kenny ended up being the officer who responded to a call about a young man who was dodging through traffic, and Matt Kenny pulls up to Tony Robinson's house, enters his house, most likely withdrew his gun in the hallway as he was entering the door, and within seconds shot Tony Robinson and multiple times and killed him.
And thing about it, you look at the video of Tony Robinson. On the video, it showed Matt Kenny went in there with his gun pulled out already, and they attend like the other officer not in the background. You look at the video, it sounds like two more officers already there.
Yeah.
And they let Matt Kenny walk in there and shot the boy up, then pulled the body out. And you look at the video, you see Tony Robinson's body right there.
It's really, really...
And the thing about it too, and you hear the police talking to Matt Kenny, telling him, wait for backup to come. He didn't. So he went in there to know what he would do, kill a young black dude for no reason. Not kill him, I'm going to say murder him.
Yeah. And what's really startling about especially the raw footage from that case is, and I've held back from saying much because it's so disturbing and shocking, and I would go beyond saying that there's some unanswered questions. I think that I will definitely say I think there are officers who lied about what happened that night. I think that Matt Kenny should have absolutely been fired, and charged in the killing. It's just terrible what happened, and it seems like the city government really did a whitewash, that they really covered up the mistakes, beyond mistakes that were made. And I definitely hold Chief Koval in response. I hold Chief Koval responsible, a big part for what happened.
I'm gonna keep it real. When Matt Kennedy killed the first guy, they should have fired him, locked his ass up in jail. I ain't for bite my tongue off of it because it made me sick what he did. And they let him still be a police officer. And Matt Kennedy got fired and went to jail the first time for killing the little white dude. They told him the white boy suicidal and ain't had no real gun, had a BB gun. And you hear his wife in the background talking to the police, telling them he had a BB gun, and then you hear the gunshot go off and hear that young lady crying for her husband. They should have locked Matt Kennedy ass up in jail and everything. They didn't. They let that man get away with murder. And that's how he ended up murdering the young brother, Tony Robinson. And they locked him up and put him in jail the first time. Tony Robinson still be here right now today.
And so, we got this case that we would both define as murder.
Murder.
That a police officer who murdered a citizen. He didn't have the right to enter the house like that. He didn't. He shouldn't have had his gun. And on top of it too, we would both agree that Matt Kennedy most likely lied. Why, if he was actually in danger, why did he not use his taser?
That's what I'm saying.
The story he originally gave doesn't add up with the evidence of the way Tony Robinson was shot, the trajectory, the amount of distance, and so forth and so forth. All of these things, they're the evidence. And it seems like the media showed up to Madison as soon as it happened, and then left, and then came back when the decisions were made to not charge. They've come and they've covered a couple of the rallies, and then they've completely ignored the case ever since. It's been a couple years now, and you don't hear anything in the
about
news.
Matt Kennedy no more. I didn't hear nothing about the man.
The national media, you had CNN here, you had all these big medias that come, and then what's crazy is it was like the media wanted this case. For instance, there was another man who was killed about a year or two later, who the man who was in the water, who he had trespassed. The man was definitely having some sort of a mental breakdown, and individual called the police, said there was a man trespassing in his house, explained to the police that there was nobody else in the house, that he had left his own house, that there was the one man trespassing inside his house, and the police couldn't just simply get the man out of the house. The man was already, I believe, actually out of the house by the time the cops got there, and they shot the guy dead on the driveway of the house because the man had a garden tool, a small garden tool in his hand. And it's like, you could have tased him, clearly, the man could have lunged, but you want to keep your distance, But the night of that shooting, I remember there was this big commotion with the media. Media were set up there, they were doing live streaming, they were filming, and then as soon as they found out that the guy shot was white, they were like, oh, he was a Caucasian male, gone. And then just nobody's talked about that case at all. So it's like the media in Madison, they want these cases of white officer killing black man for the news story. They don't really want to get into the truth of the story. They'll take the narrative set forth by the police, and then they take off. And then if there's a case where it's white guy shot by white cop, they don't care at all. But I don't know what else to say about the case of Tony Robinson. A murder, cover-up, and sadly, I guess the thing to end on is, or close to end on, is that we still haven't gotten justice for Tony Robinson.
No justice for Tony at all. They think they gave justice because they gave the mom some money. She don't want that money. She wanted her son back. Now he got a mama, a grandfather, and a grandmama, and a grandfather, and his brother and sisters. And now they ain't got no brother no more because of what dude did. Killed their big brother.
And in this super liberal, progressive city of Madison, Wisconsin, when the issue came up to put body cams on all the police officers, they decided not to.
Yeah, because the only thing they for do cover it up. I've been watching people put that stuff on Facebook when the police still harassing black people driving cars. And like the one I just saw, they on their property, a lady and her man on the property, and somebody called the police talking about it 2 people outside in front of this house, and they cussed them out, letting them know, this is my house. What you want my ID? And they didn't give them the ID either, because they like, we live here. Why you over here? Because talking about somebody called the police and saying they look like they straight track pass and that's somebody's house and that's their house. I don't understand that. So, you know, that's crazy, man. I'm going to keep Tony alive, though, to the day I die. Because I got stuff in my house with Tony pictures on there. I knew his mama, though. And she a cool person, too. And her grandma. So that stuff right there... Oh, that ain't the only case, though. I think being black, we'll never get no justice for none of those people that got killed by murdered officers.
I guess there might not even be a proper answer to this, but last question. You know, what's going to be the solution? Is it, you know, getting people the freedom to make their money and do something? Like, people have to find interest. Like, people got to find a goal and shoot for it, because that's what's going to keep them safe, essentially, when they're able to make some money for themselves and take care of themselves. And
that's why I said, you get a job, I don't care, you got to work for the other people for a while and save money, and then you save enough money, open your own business. That's what you have to do. You have to open your own business for real. If you dropped out of high school like me and it's hard to get a job and you know how to do anything in the world you love, you could go save enough money and open your own business. And that's what, like the rapper Master P. I love Master P. Because Master P said it. He said, you get money like that, open your own business. That's the only way we can make money out here. You got to open your own business for being a black man, period. You got to open your own business. So.
And maybe we all need to work together and not wait on the government to do it for us.
Yeah, because you just wait for them, you be dead by then. Like me, I love the Madison Free Store, and I love the lady that helped me do it in the church too. Do the Madison Free Store in the church too, because to me, that feel like that my own business. Somebody said, where you work for, Mike? I work for cut that part off.
Yeah.
I work for Madison Free Store. That's my business. They at me.
So that's a good note to end on. The Madison Free Store, which we've started just over 4 years ago, providing bottles of water to people, or in the summertime, or a hot cup of coffee in the wintertime, or a warm coat in the wintertime, some socks, some shoes, some bicycles,
toothpaste, anything
we gave away. Last month we gave away books, we gave away artwork, we gave away all sorts of things. You can find the Madison Free Store on Facebook. You can also contact Michael at this number right here. Call Michael, get involved with the Free Store. He's doing it every Wednesday at the First United Methodist Church down in
9 o'clock to 10 o'clock.
On Wednesdays, every week.
And you could get breakfast there too. And they got people, help people for food stamp there. You get everything done. And I want to, in my last thing, I want to thank all my friends who donated for the last 4 years at the Madison Free Store. Thank you very much. Love you. Big Mike. Mwah.
Thank you for watching. Please get involved with the links below.